What's going on, guys? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another video for you guys. And as it's Pancake Day today, we have come up with the top 5 Spurs flippers.
Flip-floppers.
Flip-floppers.
Do you want to explain that one for the audience?
Just a quick explanation. These are the top 5 players for us that we can think of who have either gone from really good to really bad or really bad to really good. So they've flipped essentially into really good players or into really bad players. So we come up with 5 examples for you guys. But obviously, if we missed anyone or if you think anyone else should be in the top 5, put it in the comments below. Much appreciated. We'll start off with number 5.
Yeah, let's go reverse order.
We'll go reverse order.
Yeah.
We'll go with Moussa Sissoko. Moussa Sissoko is the number 5th flipper.
He looked shocking when we first got him, didn't we?
Absolutely.
30 million was a lot of money as well back then. You got to remember that where the market value was. That was quite a lot of money back then.
Yeah, it was.
And
big money signing.
He looked like one of the least technical footballers I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's like watching a dog chase a beach ball down the beach. When it's in control of the football, didn't it?
It was worse than that, probably.
Yeah. But what a turnaround, though.
It all started in that one night in the Bernabeu, I think.
Do you think?
I think that was one of the beginning of the resurrection. Resurrection? No, not resurrection. Well, kind of resurrected his first career.
Yeah.
And I think since then he's become a very solid and good Premier League midfielder. And he really did turn his Spurs career around. One of the most trusted men by the end of the Pochettino era.
That run that we had in the Champions League, I think he was carrying us for a lot of those games.
He was.
I know Son was doing well as well, but I mean, just through the midfield, I thought he was an absolute tank. Couldn't stop him. Yeah, absolutely couldn't stop him. I was going, wow, this guy's incredible, like genius levels. And then it didn't last too long, but he's still solid now. But he's
let's not talk about the final.
Yeah, let's not talk about the yeah, that was silly, wasn't it?
Let's not talk about the final.
He
started flipping back the other way. He got burnt, I think, that one side.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it could be flipping back, but he's 32 now, so.
Yeah, so it is the main. But I think he is one of the Spurs flippers for us.
And the Spurs fan, he's just one of those players Spurs fans love.
Yeah, he is. He always gives 100%, doesn't he?
Spurs fans have really taken him to their heart. They don't hold a grudge for him for the Champions League final either.
Luckily, unlike Liverpool, Karius and things like that, we don't for some reason go Sissoko. But Sissoko, number 5. Number 4, we're going to go with Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane obviously had a great start to his Spurs career.
Our favourite Spurs player.
Yeah, I absolutely love Robbie Keane. I really do. He was one of my favourite players. He was my favourite player when I was growing up. The way he used to score some magical goals. He just came up with a bit of genius. He'd like flick balls over the head and volley at home. And he's especially him and Berbatov struck up some lethal partnerships. And he was a great link-up striker and a great finisher as well. Especially his first spell at Spurs. You know, those 2 seasons before we sold him to Liverpool, he was getting 25 goals a season, and he was one of the best strikers in the league.
Do you think Berbatov made him look good or not?
No, because of if you remember the season when we got the lasagna gate, he was outstanding that season, and Berbatov wasn't there. He was absolutely outstanding that season.
I think his best. What do you think his best season was? I think 2005.
That was lasagna gate season.
Yeah, that was lasagna gate. Yeah, that's when I think he was at his best.
Yeah, in terms of goals, he's had more goals than other seasons, but I actually think his performances, he did drag us to like 5th place in that season. He was absolutely unbelievable. I think I remember he was playing such good football, but then
the flop came in.
He had that move to Liverpool for 6 months, didn't work out for him. He came back.
That's the saddest I've ever been losing a player, by the way.
It was, me too.
I was dreaming about him and everything.
Because he said he would stay forever or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he say he's going to stay for a while?
Yeah, and then as soon as he went, he's kissing the badge, and it's really upsetting, isn't it? But so yeah, when he came back, it wasn't. He wasn't
the same. People called him a coward for coming back.
No, I don't think he's a coward. I just think his so-called dreams didn't work out, and then. Because he made out
third boyhood club.
Then he went to Celtic and
another boyhood club.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, unfortunately, when he came back to Spurs, he was woeful. Yeah. That's the only way of putting it. I don't know if it was a loss of confidence, if he just wasn't the same player. He wasn't even that old. He was like 28 when he came back.
Yeah.
He wasn't even that old. So and he was only away for 6 months. So how much can you change in 6 months?
There's an example of a player that peaks early and like fades early.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
he did fair. Unfortunately, so, and when he came, he was just shocking. He just wasn't involved. He didn't have that same spark.
He got 4 against Burnley. I remember being at that game.
Yeah,
and
he did get 4 against Burnley.
He dropped Defoe and then played Keane, and everyone was going, "What are you doing?" And then he scored 4.
Yeah,
but that was probably the only
time we did anything.
Yeah,
he didn't. He just wasn't the same player.
No,
he completely lost his confidence.
I love that. I love Robbie.
Do you think that second spell is a bit of a stain on his first career?
Not for me.
Not for you.
No, because I think everyone knew that like we didn't have the expectations. We'd almost like sealed that box, if you know what I mean. So when we brought him back, it was like a bonus if he played well, but we'd already started to mentally prepare for not having him, if you know what I mean. So it wasn't quite the same letdown.
Yeah. And but it broke my heart when the fact that he was putting in such average performances when he came back for me. It did.
His heart wasn't in it. And you know, you can tell with Keane, right? When his heart's in it, he does the little cartwheel celebration. I'm serious. You watch when he was really passionate, you could see it. Like he would do little roly-poly, and then
But he stopped that, didn't he?
He just.
You know what he said recently?
But
no, do you know what he said recently? He was doing a goggle box with Gary Neville, and he said he looks back at that celebration, he cringes. He hates it.
No,
he said he said he cringes. He said he can't believe he used to celebrate like that.
No,
that's what he says. He said he just cringes about it.
No, that was his trademark.
I know, I loved it. I used to do that in the garden.
It's like a WWF's finishing move. You know, you can't go back on it and not like it. It's who you are.
All right, well, Robbie Keane is at number 4.
Yeah.
At number 3, we're going to put Gareth Bale there. We're going to put Gareth Bale at number 3.
And also, not because of the way he turned it round in a positive sense. We start off with the positive sense first. Because of the beginning.
It was actually interesting because he had that run, obviously very well documented. 24 games, he didn't win a Premier League game when he first came. I did think he was actually very unlucky.
I thought that as well.
Very unlucky because I remember he made his debut against Man United. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was
unbelievable. And then he scored in like his first 3 games. Scored against Arsenal, scored against Fulham, and he scored against Middlesbrough in the Cup. I thought he was amazing. And then he got some injuries. And then also, not only did he get injuries, but whenever he came back into the team, it was in a team that wasn't playing well.
Exactly.
So the second half again of that season when we won the Cup, he was injured for a lot of that. And then he came back and we were awful for that second half of the season.
I was actually at the game that he came back. And it was only because BAE was injured.
Yeah.
Harry played him at left wing back.
That was once Ramos had gone.
That was the Leeds United FA Cup.
2-2.
And it was... Yeah, it was 2-2, I think, because Pav scored. And
then they got a last-minute equaliser from the penalty.
Yeah, they scored a last-minute. And that was the game that I started the boom, 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 let me hear you say Bale chant. That was the game. That was the game that I started it. And then I heard I sung it because my mate went to Wales games and he used to go boom, 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 let me hear you say Wales.
Wales.
So I started it. And then after about 10 minutes, other people started singing it. And then it became like
a thing. What I would say about the Bale thing is he did start with a house on fire. And then after the injury, I did feel like there was a bit of a loss in confidence in him. And performances did actually decline for quite a bit before that run you're talking about. He broke into the team. Yeah. Then his career just kind of
took off. Yeah. And I always felt like he should have been played before that. Like Harry was freezing him out. And I always thought that even
nearly went on loan to Birmingham
before we nearly swapped for the Middlesbrough player. What was his name? The Jonathan.
Well, Stuart Downing.
I always think Jonathan Stuart Downing. Yeah. We nearly did a swap at some point. It's in the papers.
Nearly. We nearly sold to Birmingham for 3 million.
God, yeah.
That would have been horrific. And then it flipped in a good way. Champions League run, Maicon, everyone knows the story. 31 goals in a season, playing forward.
And then the final season was just like unplayable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unplayable.
Then he got his move to Madrid, blah, blah, blah. We all know what happened out there. Won buckload of trophies. Now he's back and he's flipped back.
Do you think if he cut the man bun off, maybe we'd see...
Or like Samson. No, Samson, he had the long hair.
No, because when he had the long hair, it was shit.
Then he
cut the hair off, he was great. And then when he grew it...
Wasn't that a thing with Adebayor when he had long hair? It was amazing. And he cut it and he was awful when he cut his long hair.
There's a few... I always thought Genis was better with slightly longer hair.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know why.
Genis is slightly longer hair.
But, I don't know. But then
Mido was always a lot better with long hair.
Was he?
Yeah, because when I remember in his second season with Spurs, he shaved it all off and he was awful. There's
a few players like that, isn't there? Milan Barros was the same. When he cut his hair off, the power, it's like the power goes, the superpower goes.
But Gareth Bale, has he flipped back?
Then it's flipping back.
Is he now flopping now? Is he now? Has his career gone full like a horse?
It's going full circle.
Is back? Is he back at?
Yeah, and then he'll go for the same haircut with the little pin, little hair.
So you're just saying he just needs to run a left back? Is that what you're saying? And then he'll get back to
I would just, whatever happened, I would just put him in. Just see what happens. Just let him adapt his game, just to see if we can squeeze out anything from his performances.
All right, number 2 for Spurs flippers, we're going to go with Paul Robinson. Paul Robinson. This is
a sad one, isn't it?
Very sad one. England's number 1 fan favourite. He was European away days. He was chanting with the fans. There are videos. He was actually an unbelievable keeper at one point.
And I think another player that is, I would say, one of the most lovable players.
He was absolutely loved by everyone.
Robbo.
Yeah, he was a great keeper as well. He wasn't loved just because of who he was. Yeah. Obviously, he had a great rapport with the fans. But when he was playing for England, he was great. I remember against Wales once, we beat Wales 1-0. for England. He made like a world-class save against John Hartson to give us the win. He was playing really well for England. For Spurs, he was keeping him in games loads of times. I remember for the first 3 seasons, pretty much, he was at Spurs. He was a really great keeper. But then the bubble happened.
It all turned. Can you imagine that, a whole career changing? And he admits that himself. Like, his whole career changed on the little bubble. Like, playing for England, the ball bubbled over his foot, and it was a bit embarrassing. Really not his fault.
It wasn't his fault.
It was just one of those freak things that happens. I mean, there's a classic video of Tim Flowers, one actually going right over his head.
That was against Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, so these things just happen, and unfortunately,
but I think unfortunately
it dented his confidence massively.
Unfortunately for him as well is the fact that he was playing for England. And also, it was part of a qualifying process where England didn't qualify for the Euros. I don't know if you remember that. So I think all that come together for him to get a lot of the blame and a lot of criticism from everyone. If that happened in a Spurs shirt in a European game, it probably doesn't have the same effect. But the fact it happened for England, how many times have we seen it with England keepers? Not just Robinson. They make one big mistake, and then all like Rob Green at the World Cup, he was a decent keeper, made that mistake, and he wasn't the same. Yeah. You had Scott Carson, he was a decent keeper, made that one mistake. Wasn't the same.
Didn't McLaren play Carson, and he shouldn't have played him in the absolute critical game. That was such a big mistake. He should have stuck with David James for that game. I remember that.
Robinson, mate.
Yeah. Well, but then when we watched Robinson play for Spurs, you could see the confidence was drained out of him. He was so scared for going for a cross. Even
that's what happened. And in fact, it even came to a head. I reckon the point where it switched for me, where I was like, okay, Robinson's never going to get back to his best, was actually the 125th anniversary game. Do you remember that game when we drew 4-4 against Aston Villa?
Yeah.
We were 4-1 down, and he made some really bad stinkers, really bad. He was dropping crosses, letting it into his own net, letting things through his legs, like really like tame shots and stuff. And that's one point I was like, okay, maybe we need to move him on. And it was actually the end of that season he moved on. But he did have one last hurrah.
League Cup final.
The League Cup final. He had a great game.
And he actually saved it in the last minute, I think it was.
From Kalu or Drogba or something. Yeah,
Kalu.
Yeah, that was his last saving grace. And after that, he was gone. But that was his last.
It was so nice to see him win, wasn't it? And
it was like one last dance. That game.
It was beautiful to bring him back for that. I was a bit worried bringing him back in for that game.
Cherney was the keeper.
I was actually thinking Cherney's probably like more reliable, but actually I'm so glad Robinson got to be there and
but unfortunately, he started off well, but it did fall off with him.
Unfortunately, but we love the guy. I love you, Robbo.
We love you, man. And number one, the big one, number one is Dele Alli, the biggest flipper I think we have seen. And to be fair, when you're judging it from a player from one level performance to the other, would you say that's the biggest difference in the Spurs performance?
I'm not sure if I'd stick him number one. I would probably stick him number 3 or 4.
Surely, but when the heights he hit to where he is now, is that not the biggest difference you've seen in a Spurs player? I
think Bale's a bigger difference.
You think Bale?
Yeah, 31 goals to now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
we'll edit this.
No. But I'll argue that it's a bit different because Dele is 24 now.
Yeah,
he's still should be at his peak. He's still very young. Bale he's already had an illustrious career. He could retire tomorrow, Bale, and be one of the best British players of all time. Yeah. He doesn't need this. Dele needs to have a career.
Oh well, if you include that,
he's still in his career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to go from such heights where he was getting 18 Premier League goals. He was one of the stars of the Spurs team that were challenging for titles. He was playing for England as well. He's played at the World Cup. He scored in the World Cup quarter-final against Sweden. He was playing. He didn't have the best World Cup, but he's still there and he's scoring goals, scoring a brace against Real Madrid at Wembley. Like those are the heights. And now he's just a shadow of that player. It's been going ever since.
Did he score against Sweden?
Yeah, for England.
I can't remember. Actually,
my mind.
I must have been so drunk that game that I can't remember.
Pretty sure he did. I'm right. I'm pretty sure he scored against Sweden.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just can't remember. Am
I wrong? I'm pretty sure he did.
What was the goal like then? I can't even remember.
It was a header at the back post, if I remember rightly. I'm pretty sure it was
I just remember being tanked up during that game.
Dele Alli, 58th minute. Thought so. But for where he was in such a short space of time, for such a decline right now from where he is now, the problem right now is not the fact that he's in bad form. The problem is now it's been 3 years since he's been in good form.
And I was even saying that in 2018 when we were playing him regularly, I said, this is not the same Dele Alli as last year. But because he'd built up the credits, the good performance credits, no one was like daring to criticize him.
Yeah, but the thing is, when a 19
I could see it. I could see it though. No, he wasn't 19 at that point. Or was he? No, he was probably about 21 or 22.
Exactly. But when young players can go in flits and starts with their form. But now, when it's been 3 years,
do you think he's guilty of, or do you think he's the victim of an early success, like such a good performance at the beginning of his career that's now blighting his people's opinions of him now?
Yes and no. I would say I think I remember he got that 18 goals, right, in that one season, which was world class, unbelievable. And then the next season, right, he got like 10 goals or something, 10 goals and 10 assists, like, which is pretty good for a centre mid. But then everyone was saying, oh, he's declining because he's not not as good as he was the previous season. I think in that instance, I would say, yeah, he was a victim of his own success. But in the last 2 seasons, I wouldn't. I would just say he's been poor. That's
and how much of that is also down to the fact that the system's changed. And we're not playing we're not camped out in the opposition's half so much, and his role is changed. Yeah,
but then I would say under Pochettino it was the same. It's not just now. So it's like when we were playing quite attacking football under Poch, he was still declining. I think injuries have taken his toll. I don't know what his lifestyle is, but it doesn't seem like I don't know. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's. I don't know him personally, but he just doesn't seem like, since he hit the heights, right, and he was really fresh and he was energetic and he was looking to make a difference every time he was on the pitch. He just doesn't seem like he's that player at the moment. He doesn't seem like to have that motivation. He definitely seems to have a motivation problem.
There's a few things for me. One is a lifestyle issue. I think he's become a little bit of a playboy.
He does seem like that.
I've got that vibe about him. You can
it's
just
see. It's just a vibe, though. We don't really know.
But he just has that kind of... Just the way he came onto the pitch in the Europa game, he looked up at the jumbotron and the first thing he did was like check his hair, you know. And that's not the same kind of attitude that I remember seeing when he first arrived. And he was so glad to be in the Premiership, do you remember? And he's like, oh, my dreams come true, and he worked so hard, and you know, that was that kind of level of dedication. But I think
maybe he thought he made it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think I think he's in his comfort zone. That's what it is. But I also do think that the style of play's changed. When we were camped out in the opposition's half, we were under Poch in our prime. His role was almost like a free spirit role. He almost drifted further forward than Kane, and he was almost playing as a second striker. But now, because you know the whole system's changed, he doesn't have the license and the freedom to play that role anymore. So now he's asked to do more of the donkey work in midfield, and then he gets exposed. People scrutinize him a lot more for looking lazy.
Do you think the fact as well, just quickly before we end this video, the fact that you say he's in his comfort zone, he's got so many friends at Tottenham, he's clearly best mates with Eric Dyer and stuff, and maybe they don't give him the kick up the backside that he needs, maybe to kickstart his career again. Yeah, the fact that he's so close to everyone.
I think that's also, sometimes there's such a good family atmosphere and feels so good to go in and see your buds every day.
Because that's what he said in the documentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, sometimes you may not have that incentive to want to go on and achieve if you feel like really nicely cotton walled and all your buds are there.
Yeah.
So there might be an element of that, but you know, he's his own man. He's got to make those decisions, doesn't he? Can we do a few honourable mentions?
Go on.
What do you reckon, Kane?
Kane as a flipper,
as in flipped good. Because when Harry was playing him for a while, and he didn't look like a good player, did he?
Yeah, but he was a youngster. I wouldn't say. Then you could say anyone who comes good.
No,
as a
I get
flipper,
that.
You know what I mean?
I remember watching him going, that's not a player in there.
Yeah, true. A lot of people. I remember.
But what I'm saying is his trajectory. Some players do that, like in terms of becoming a good player. He's just went that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say. But what I would say as a flipper is someone who was consistently bad going to consistently good. He was never like consistently bad. He never got a chance. And then once he started breaking the team, it did.
I remember him coming on and just like he looked dreadful. That's all I would say. And then suddenly he just like looked world class, almost overnight.
Aurelio Gomez. He was awful in his first season, then he's flipped.
And then his second season is incredible. Doesn't get enough credit. I think.
Doesn't. I reckon that's one of the best ever Spurs.
We've said that before, haven't we?
Yeah. He didn't make any mistakes.
Unpopular opinion, but I honestly think that was probably the best single season we've seen.
I don't disagree with that. But then the next season again, he flipped back
to the clown.
He flipped back
to the clown.
Alan Hutton was decent when he first started. Then
Palacios. But then his brother died, sadly. Danny Rose had to go on loan, but again, a youngster.
No, Danny Rose, you could say, flipped from being one of the best left backs of the world to awful.
Townsend.
He was terrible. Flipped to what?
He went on about 100 loans, came back, looked great for half the season, then went to Palace.
Pavlyuchenko, maybe you could argue.
I always liked Pav.
Because he was average and then he kind of flipped, won that game against Leeds, actually, was the start of it. Turned into quite a good player.
Yeah, I always kind of saw something in him. Any other comments from you guys? Who else
I would argue another one. Mido had a great start to his first career, I thought, and then he turned really bad.
Flopped. Sandro?
Yeah, Sandro.
There's a few, yeah. Leave in the comment section.
But let us know in the comment section below. Those are our top 5. I want to know who your flippers are. I want to know who your players are. Hopefully you've had some pancakes today as well and enjoyed Pancake Day. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you, John. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.